Hey guys, it's ShadowAley here. Today's video is going to be a little different. You probably hear this a lot from me, but this one actually is different, I promise. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to do a different type of video, and due to Outlast 2 being released next month, and my personal hype for it at an all-time high, I thought it would be perfect for me to talk about the timeline of Outlast and its DLC and Outlast 2. I played through it, so I was like, hey, might as well do it. And I kind of did some research to do this, and there's not much theory in here. There is a little bit towards the end, but I'm just kind of trying and explain kind of what happened to everyone. So if you watch my videos, you kind of understand really what happened. Okay, so if you haven't been able to figure out yet, Outlast Whistleblower DLC is not a prequel. Yeah, I know, there's that one email the guy in the whistleblower sends him a blah blah blah, but it isn't, at least not the entire thing. The events of Outlast and its whistleblower DLC occur simultaneously. Let me explain how I know that. Let's start out at the very beginning of our timeline. The player is Wayland Park, also called the whistleblower. We begin the DLC by typing an email to the main game's protagonist, Miles Upshur, to expose Murkoff of its awful business practices. We, and by we I'm referring to us as the players, or the character, are taken to the control room of the morphogenic engine. We sit down, do our work, and boom, we see a later enemy, Eddie Gluskin. You know, the guy who chopped my nuts off and wants to impregnate a girl but can't find any, so he chops guys open. Anyways, things happen, we go back to our laptop, and boom, we're caught. We get voluntold to go try out the morphogenic engine. However, one good thing happens. We, or Mr. Park, remembered to send the email. So boom, we're back in the main game. Wait, what? Didn't Miles just get that email? Yeah, but a lot of time does seem to pass between the time Mr. Park wakes up and the time Miles arrives. In fact, Miles Upshur arrives at the asylum a little bit before Mr. Park wakes up. How do I know? Let's keep going. We begin the main game by pulling up to the asylum. Now, remember that when Mr. Park is getting strapped up and ready by the scientists, Miles has yet to arrive at Mount Massive, so we can assume it takes at least 2+ hours for Miles to come to the asylum. The screen then fades to black when we are brought back 2 hours earlier when Mr. Park is sending the email. Unfortunately, we are unable to see the time on Mr. Park's screen, so we can't get a definitive timestamp. Remember that when Miles pulls up to Mount Massive, it looks as if it's in the middle of the night. Say Mr. Park sent the email in the evening. It took Miles that evening to reach the asylum. Now, of course, we have some creepy encounters with that big guy, Chris Walker. Move on, and Miles has just reached the security office. Just as we go to mess with that keyboard, remember what happens? Oh, I bet you do. Father Martin pulls the lever and boom, power goes out. Now we will assume that the power going out is the moment when Mr. Park's straps come off and is free to go, therefore signaling the beginning of your time to play in the DLC. The amount of time it took Miles to reach Mount Massive, it has gone into chaos. Okay, so the rest of the game is mostly, just stuff going down, Might remember a sequence where Mr. Park looks outside and sees the chapel on fire. This is most likely the same time when Father Martin lights himself on fire on the cross. You can probably all remember that. So let's fast forward to the end of the Outlast DLC. The security guards are alerted to something going on in the engine room. Hint, hint, that's Miles Upshur, turning into the Wall Rider, killing every single one of the soldiers that head down there. This gives Mr. Park time to escape. The Wall Rider kills Jeremy Blair, the corrupt head of Mount Massive Asylum. Mr. Park heads outside, and whose car do we see? None other than Mr. Miles Upshur. Now this all isn't really theory, it's just kind of plain story. Now that you have that timeline understood, let's kind of move on to Outlast 2. Outlast 2 is a confirmed sequel to the first Outlast, not a prequel or anything else. There's no mystery behind it. The developers tweeted out, and I can't seem to find the tweet, but I promise you I've seen it. The developers tweeted out that it is going to be a confirmed sequel to the first Outlast, and the characters are all different. They're not really related, Miles, Mr. Park, or any of these new characters, but If you watch any gameplay, and I'm really sorry I wasn't able to play the demo, I hadn't started playing Outlast when it was out, I don't think. So that's a shame. But you know that there have been problems with pregnancies and stuff like that. In the game, it says a pregnant Jane Doe was murdered. So the main characters decide to head there and see that creepy crap right up and close because, you know, it always seems to work out for our characters, right? Well, if you can recall, there was a document in Outlast that I actually even read while playing the game. Check it out. So it says, from Jeremy Blair at MurkoffCorporationUS.com to Richard Trazer, the doctor, if you remember, and the subject is false pregnancies / real profits. And it says, Rick, fun of hitting the greens last week, we should make the drive more often, was reviewing some old test records from the early days of Project Wallrider and something sparked my interest. Were you following the project back in 2010? Apparently we had issues with female employees experiencing psychosomatic pregnancies, something to do with how the morphogenic engine interacts with the immune system. All Greek to me, am I right? It was more often fatal than not, and these employees, not patients, so a little harder to sweep under the rug, but morphogenic engine activity in these ladies' marrow was off the charts. And these are women who are never even exposed to additional hormone therapy. Now, I don't know ppm from a kick in the teeth, but I can read a spreadsheet, and if the projected profits from Project Wallrider are half of what they say they are, I've got just one question. Why aren't we performing these experiments on women? God knows mental illness is an equal opportunity affliction. Seems unethical to pass up such a potential windfall. Sincerely, Jer. Well, if these women are somehow related to Murkoff and them wanting to test on women, who knows? I will most definitely be playing it the day it comes out and trying to get as many episodes as I can out. Make sure to subscribe and check it out when it drops April 25th. Peace out, y'all.